Barbara. Welcome to Mess to Yes. Sunlight has been proven to be a magical elixir on human spirit. It makes you feel better in your own home. So today we are going to do a project that brings sunlight into even the darkest corners of your rooms. This is going to be a fantastic large mirror made from a hotel mirror that I found at my Restore salvage store. But you could replicate this project with 12 by 12 mirrors in a pack from IKEA, just putting them closely together. Then we're going to frame it with this great distressed siding. Now, I no longer have really young children, so I don't have to worry about the fact that this might have traces of lead paint on it. But if you do, look for distressed wood that's been on fences or something and has no old house paint on it. Or if you want to dress up the project a little bit, get a really great baseboard. Those corners are going to match up perfectly if you get brand new milled lumber, but ours are going to be a little more rustic, and that's okay. That's the look that I want. So we're going to start our project by painting the edges of the plywood black. Anything that you might see from the side if you come into the room and see a mirror light leaning up against the wall. I've done that here. And then I'm going to take my mirror, marble, and granite adhesive and make little piles of goop. I mean, literally, that is all I'm doing. And you just have to keep pumping it. Eventually, sometimes it kind of dribbles out. If you have a really good one, it comes out with the same pressure every time. But this is an old caulk gun. It'll get there eventually. We'll get all our little piles on here. Now, for the exact kind you need, go visit our blog at yesspaces.com, and we always have the product and material list there and the budget for our project, so you know exactly how to do it yourself. So, I'm going to make all my little piles of adhesive and lay my mirror down. When you're doing this project, you do need to have a tiny bit of planning because this adhesive is going to need 48 hours to dry. So make sure that you build your mirror in a place where you can leave it for 48 hours undisturbed so that you get the right amount of adhesion and your mirror does not fall off and break on your floor. That would be a bummer. Be back in a minute. So we applied all of our adhesive, laid our mirror down on top of it, and weighted it. This mirror is extremely heavy because it's one large piece. If you're using the smaller tiles, you might want to weight them with some books or something so that they evenly stick down and adhere to your plywood, because you're not going to be using little mirror clips. And I'm not either, because I don't really have enough room. My mirror is 4 feet wide and this plywood is 4 feet wide. So I'm going to be attaching it using the frame as basically my bracket to hold the mirror in place. I started by putting the same mirror adhesive under the front edge of the siding. Then I went along and I put a nail in every 2 inches to make sure that it's really well adhered. I started with my bottom piece, because the new plywood on the back is going to be a much better structural piece to hold the weight of the mirror. So I wanted to align this bottom molding exactly with the bottom of the plywood. So that piece is completely in place first. Now I'm going to take my other pieces, and obviously I have pieces that are 10 feet long, that I'm going to lay in place here. Cut one end first that'll butt up against this, put it in place, not adhering it or nailing it in any way, but just testing it there, and then going down to the other end and marking where I want that to be and cutting that. And I'm going to do the same thing all the way around. Cut my angled piece first, lay it in place, mark for my second angle. So I'm going to go to the saw twice for each one of these corners. Now, I'll grant you, this is a slightly more advanced project. You can't just have this cut for you in the aisles of Home Depot. But, you know, in our house, I give my husband cooking things, and I got a scroll saw for Mother's Day. So I love this kind of stuff, and I know there's a lot of you that know how to do this. And if you don't, find a neighbor, a friend, someone that can help you make the cuts. I will show you on the chop saw how to move it to 45 degrees and make these cuts. Let's do that now. If I were cutting a piece of trim and I wanted a straight cut, my saw would be lined up with 0. But because we're mitering the corners, I'm going to move it all the way over to 45. Now this is where my obsessive compulsive disorder comes in handy, because you want it exactly on the 45. Then you're going to line your wood up with that line, making sure that it goes all the way to the outside corner. If I had a pencil mark on here that said this is where I wanted to cut it, I would want it to be right here where this orange groove is. Then we're going to turn it on and cut through. Now, as you can see, we have a small problem. This particular piece of wood is wider than the radius of my saw blade, but that doesn't mean I can't use it. It just means I have to be very careful to line this up. Okay, sometimes it takes a genius. I'm going to swing it over to the other side. Right on the 45 again. Okay, now it's not working. Okay. And the way you test this is literally with the saw blade. You want to keep it moving until the saw blade is lined up exactly with your groove. Then cut the rest of the way through. And you have a 45-degree angle. Okay, so I cut my mitered corners and I worked my way around the frame one piece at a time. Not gonna lie, I swore a lot. The corners weren't exactly perfect. I still see a nail or two popping up as I'm sitting here that I have to go back and deal with. But in general, I'm really happy with my frame. I'm weighing it down because in my case, if you remember, the 4-foot mirror was the exact same width as the plywood. That should not be the case. If you're trying to build your own mirror, you need to have at least 3 inches of plywood on every side so you can nail through your trim into the wood to help hold the mirror in place. So again, to adhere it, I put the caulking adhesive under the wood between the wood and the mirror, and then I nailed through the trim into the plywood to create my frame. I had to kind of jerry-rig my sides a little bit. I don't want you to have to do that. So make sure you have that right allowance of wood all the way around. Then, because my corners are distressed, just like my wood, I had kind of a fun idea. I'm thinking about, and here's an option for you. I took my wood and cut it 15 degrees off center on both sides, and I cut it the reverse of how my frame was. It was wider on the outside and narrow on the inside. So I cut this piece to be narrow on the small side and thin on the wide side. And I'm thinking of attaching those in all the corners because they make a really fun decorative accent. So I'm going to play with those. I haven't quite decided. I tried to put the first one in and it split at the narrow end. So I'm still playing with the idea, but I thought I'd share it with you as a thought. So the final step, once you go through all your crazy ideas and get your nails in and set them with your nail set, is to clean your wood. You've cleaned it once before when you used it. And once again, if this has got outdoor wood on it, or any kind of outdoor paint rather on your wood, or any kind of loose paint, now is the time to just remove those big chips of paint. Wash it, get it to the look that you like, get the edges free, the splinters free, rub it down really well, sand it if you're trying to distress it more, then let it completely dry. I've already washed this piece over here and it dried while I was struggling with getting all the rest of my wood on all the way around. So I'm going to take, this is a satin polyurethane. Matte would be okay too, but satin, don't go for gloss. You're not looking for something new here. Satin will make your wood look like it's wet all the time. And when wood looks wet, the imperfections in the finish will all show up just that little bit more. And it will encase any of the paint bits or whatever that might be still a little bit loose. But don't forget, take the big pieces off. I'm going to do this all the way around. I'm going to let the whole thing sit here for 2 days and cure so my adhesive is in perfect adhesion. And then I'm going to put it into place and you'll see the final result.